This is again a sandbox kind of environment. No, you can very quickly see all these CRUD operations working using this. Okay, instead of creating your own application, we'll use this sandbox. Okay, so if you see here in the first, it is saying one link, right? This is your main endpoint. Okay, so if what happens if you do that in your browser, it is telling you have a resource called unicorns. Okay, now unicorns is empty. I have created something, and for you both it should be empty.
Yes, it
There
is
is
empty.
nothing, right? Now you need to create it. Basically, create means you have to if you go little down in that link, you can see the URLs for URIs for all these operations, right? So let's create a unicorn, and there should not be any restriction. You can create with any payload, but they have given a example. You can use that example also. I think you should be able to create anything. Okay, how you'll create this now, right? If you click on create, it should create, or you can do it from Postman also. Okay, just try to create. It will create a unicorn for you. Okay, or else what you have to do, go to Postman, and better we start with Postman. Okay, because since we will be using Postman, I will show you step by step how to create. Okay, so go to Postman, first create a workspace. If you go to Workspace, just create a workspace first. So go to your workspace and then create new collection. Click on new, then you can select collection. Basically, you are creating a repository for yourself to try all this requests. Click on the collection, and there will be after the star there will be a view more actions option menu. There you can select add a request. By default it will say select get. Now let's create a post. From the drop down, select post. You can give a name to the request, meaningful name, and what you do that whatever URL you have, right, your unique ID, I have this C4 something something / unicorns. You copy that URL and put it in the post. You should get a response and a response status code and all you should see. So, next we'll create a get. Okay, so what this is the URL for the get. Next, same way you click on that view more action and get a new new add request, and this time we'll do a get. So if you send that get request, it should give you the list of unicorns which you have created. If you are creating multiple, like you can create multiple unicorns, and you should be able to see the complete list. So it is basically returning a array of JSON, right? Your response format, payload format is array of JSON. Okay. Now next thing is let's do a put. Similar way, now you have to do. Now you need to pay attention here. When you do a put, you have to give the ID which record basically you want to update, right? So how you'll get it? In your get request, if you see the first parameter is _ID, right? So whatever you have created, copy that ID, and in the put paste it in the URL, and then update the no, data accordingly in the body. How you can verify that? You can do a get request again and see in the get request also actually showing the updated record. So we are done with post put. Then let's do a delete. Okay, so similar unicorns, but your method type should be delete. Select delete and put the ID. You should be able to delete it. So if you see, do a get, and if you see, go to your header section, you can see some of the headers are getting added in the, this is actually a response header. Like you can see what is the server date, content type, right? What is the content type of your response? Now, since we are getting, application JSON, so it is showing application JSON, and what is, access control, policies, all those things will be there. Then even you can see your, status code, right? And how much time it took, basically, right? And how much data has been transferred. What is the response size? So those parameters are important from a testing point of view. If you see, CRUD operation, mainly what we test basically, right? So suppose, you are performing a CRUD operation from UI, right? You test, all the mandatory fields are getting saved, optional fields are, no, not mandatory. And if you are not passing any optional field, it should not give you error. And then your business logic is like, you save it, and then you are able to see the record, your data is same, right? So those kind of validation we generally do when we test the CRUD operations. And from an API point of view, the first check will be always your status code. Okay, so if you are testing any API, so first check this, what is the status code it is returning, and is that status code is as expected. Okay, so for example, you are doing a post operation, you are getting 201, yeah, so and implementation is also 201, it is good enough. Now again, no, suppose your application is under development, right? So you are actually testing the APIs as well as in the backend. So you can also verify if everything is fine in the DB side. So you can connect to, as a maybe QA member, you can connect to DB if they are giving access to you, and you can write some simple queries and then verify it. So that is also no, we pretty much do when we do API testing. But mostly, more than verifying the DB, the actual way of, functional way of verifying is do a post or do a put or delete and do a get. So that is the sequence from, because that is the sequence where, the front end also will follow, right? The way, or as a, if you are thinking from a user point of view, right? That is the way user also sees it. So if suppose, they have implemented only post, get is under development. So in that case, you can go to the DB directly and then verify. If write some select queries and verify. So for post it is create, then put also it is update, delete is same as delete, and get it is select. So those simple queries you can write and verify in your database. Okay, this is pretty much very basic stuff because this APIs doesn't have authentication, right? So that also is important to understand. In the upcoming sessions, we'll consider that.